Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, agents. I am Mounty Carl, and I am back for another Let's Talk video right here on Gun Brothers Gaming on The Division. And today we are going to talk about why LMGs come Tuesday, the 1.3 patch underground, is going to make LMGs just off the charts, the most amazing weapons that we're going to want to have. Because when you are shooting at somebody, how often do you find them in cover? Not very often, and even when you do find them in cover, they're usually not shooting back at you. So here's the thing that I have figured out. Now, the new bonus to LMG is the key to starting point for this thing to work. So as long as everything works and stacks, come Tuesday, you're going to be looking for those Hungry Hogs and other LMGs in the game, because those are going to be the greatest weapons that have ever lived this side of pizza bread. And they're going to be much more prevalent than the SMGs that we've been using. So let me tell you why. So the bonus to LMGs is 25% damage to people or NPCs that are not in cover. And this is important because there's already something in the game that already does 25% damage to anything not in cover, and those are Savage Gloves. Now, let's say you want to combine your Savage Gloves with your LMG. Now, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm guessing because a lot of the other stuff in the game does, it stacks on top of each other. So not only now do you have your Savage Gloves and your LMG, you now have a plus 50% damage to anything not in cover. And now this would be awesome in and of itself, but there are other factors that we need to take into account. Like, let's say a 3-piece Lone Star set. Now you have 100% plus ammo and you have 1000 plus damage to LMGs. So now not only do you have a set of Savage Gloves, you have an LMG that does 25% more damage. So there's 50% damage right there. And now you are moving into the plus 1000 range for LMG. So start collecting your Lone Star gear now. Start looking for the that 204 awesome Savage Glove set piece, and you should be pretty set on how much damage you're going to be able to rock out with an LMG, not to mention 100% ammo. And if you have that 4-piece LMG and you're running LMGs, you're never going to have to reload your LMG. It's just going to be a quick swap and you're going to be rocking that LMG. If you use 2 LMGs, you're going to be just doing insane things until you run out of bullets, which will probably be rather quickly. If you have 2 really good LMGs, it might just be a non-stop bullet barrage toward people. You're going to be fairly unstoppable. And then you throw on some enemy armor damage or something to that effect, and you should be good to go. Now, I don't know how these new set pieces are going to go and fit into this gear set that I'm thinking of, but 4 pieces of Lone Star where you can just, endless amount of bullets and find a maybe a assault rifle or something like that you can pair with this, and you're just going to be like this LMG death machine. And not to mention, you throw a couple accuracy mods on, and it's going to get to accuracy fairly quickly, because the longer you shoot the LMG, the more accurate it gets over time. So that is my thought process in this. I'm hoping that I am right and that this is going to stack, and this is going to move people away from SMGs, which they are nerfing. If you haven't heard about that, they are nerfing SMGs. Well, not just SMGs, just AUGs and Vectors. So if you haven't heard, the AUG and the Vector are going to get a nerf, and I'll talk a little bit more about the nerfs that are going on in the game. So the nerfs that they're doing right now are the AUG and the Vector are probably the most major one, and they're decreasing the damage by 10%, and they're also changing the main perk on it from critical hit chance to critical hit damage. Now, I talked about this in my previous video about why the critical hit damage is actually a good change, so I'm not even a little bit salty about that. But there's a lot of people out there who are going to be getting their AUGs and Vectors nerfed that probably aren't going to be too pleased, but even 10% damage isn't going to be that big of a deal. I don't know why they chose that number, but it's 10%, and so if you have a 10,000 point AUG, you're going to lose 1,000% or 1,000 points of damage. You're going to be shooting a 9,000 point AUG at that point, which if you take a look at some of the stuff, there is no plus 100 to SMGs on any of the gear. You're going to have to actually roll that on something, and I think the highest it goes to is like a plus 500 to SMGs, so I don't know. It's going to be an interesting nerf to say the least. Probably not as bad as the Sentry Striker gear nerf, which I can see that being fairly viable, but I am excited to see kind of what they're going to do to combat this nerf. Now, they did say they were going to nerf it, but I don't really consider it a nerf because they're going to add in another perk with a 5-piece set. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with the Sentry Striker with a 5-piece, because they're leaving the 1, 2, and 3, or 2, 3, and 4-piece perks alone from what I read, and they're adding in a 5th piece, so it discourages people from running 3 and 3, and they're also going to change those 2 plus 2 perks. So if you have 2 equipment pieces, the minor skill on that is going to be a little bit less. So those are the major nerfs that are going on. Now, I'm not, I stopped running Sentry Striker because I knew this was coming, and so I wanted to kind of prepare myself and mentally prepare myself for it to actually come. So I stopped, I switched out my stuff. Now I'm running 2 Lone Star, 2 Final Measure, and 2 Sentries. So it's actually going to affect me a little bit, so I'm gonna have to find out another piece of Sentry gear. Hopefully it won't affect me, because I won't care, because I don't actually use the perk that much. I do use it, so I take that back. Hopefully they don't change it that much and it's not that bad of a nerf, or else my build is gonna have to go out the window, which it probably will anyways, because I'm really excited about the new gear set pieces. So that's pretty much all I got for you today in this episode of Let's Talk. So why don't you go ahead, leave down in the comments if you're a little salty about anything, any of the nerfs or anything like that, and what do you think about my LMG build coming into this new patch on 1.3. PS4 players, once again, very sorry that you're not getting this patch, but you know what you are getting? You are getting the 1.3 patch, so it actually pertains to you. You actually get this LMG update, so it's actually going to be good. You're going to be delayed for about a week probably, but go ahead and just go ahead and leave a comment down in the section. Are you going to be running an LMG in this next patch, or are you not? Thanks again. That's been my time. I am Mounty Carl for another Division Let's Talk. We will see you next time. If you felt that this was a helpful video and you thought that my ideas on the LMG were sound, I know that a lot of people, they really don't like LMGs right now, but I'm thinking that there's going to be a lot more people running LMGs and spraying the town with bullets in the upcoming patch. So if you have any ideas or comments, leave them down in the section. If you like this video, found it informative, please leave a like, and we will see you next time on another Division Let's Talk video. Agent out.